Hey there everyone, welcome to Violet's Dream Tarot. Welcome back. It's been a little while. I've still been keeping up with Patreon, but over the summer holidays I have been away from YouTube a little bit. Still replying to comments and things and posting occasionally, but I haven't had chance to sit down and do a proper filmed reading, so I hope you're all doing really well. I'm looking forward to doing this reading for you today. This is going to be an energy forecast. We're going to be looking at your next roughly 7 days. Not focusing on any particular area of your life, but just seeing what's coming in, what you can expect, so that you know in advance, so that you are well prepared. Maybe there's some nice surprises as well to look forward to as well. So like I said, really excited to do this reading, and I want to say a big thank you to all of you for being here and to all of my lovely subscribers. Welcome back. Thank you to all of my lovely patrons as well, including Alexandra, Amy, Alyssa, Alison, Mia, Cara, and Kelly. Thank you so much to all of you for all of your support. Let's take a look at the cards more closely. I've got these pile marker cards from the Midnight Oracle on each deck. So on pile 1 we have Snake and the Ramses Tarot of Eternity. You can just feel which pile you're being drawn towards for your week ahead, or you can ask maybe about a specific situation if you'd like to hear about it in the reading and see what pops up. Path on pile 2 with the Circle of Life Tarot. And over on pile 3 we have Lock and the Fae Tarot. So some really interesting imagery there popping up from the Midnight Oracle. I also want to say a big thank you to Raj for sending in the lovely new Lantern Oracle, which I'm really excited to use. Gorgeous deck. I've wanted it for a while. I love not only the imagery but also the messages. It's quite a wordy deck, which I like. So there's some really deep things to think about that comes with that deck, so I'll definitely be using that today. So when you've chosen your pile, just jump forward to the timestamp in the comments section below or in the description box. If you need to spend more time choosing your pile, just rewind the video, go back to the start or back to the close-ups. And always choose with your intuition, guys. So choose the one that is really calling out your name or really drawing your attention towards it. Don't just choose the deck that you want to see the most or the picture you prefer the most just because you really like snakes, for example. Choose with your intuition because that will give you the most accurate reading for you. And obviously that's what we're here to do today. So when you're ready, I will get started with pile number 1. Take as much time as you need and I'll be waiting. Hey there group 1, welcome to your reading. If you chose the Snake card and the Ramses Tarot of Eternity, this is going to be your reading. We're going to be looking at roughly the next 7 days for you, so you're a week ahead, and it's a timeless reading. You can watch this reading anytime and hopefully there will be a message for you here. The Snake card, obviously being drawn to that, maybe that suggests that the Chinese zodiac of the snake is important in your week ahead. Maybe it's more about the connotations of snake more generally. When I think of the snake, I think of the ability to wound or heal. I think of shedding one's skin. I think of infinity. I think of betrayal. I think of temptation. There's a lot of different connotations that the snake has culturally. Let's see what your tarot has to say. Okay, quite a few cards popping out. Let's have a look. So we've got the 8 of Swords and the Queen of Cups, 2 of Cups, King of Cups, wow, and the Knight of Pentacles. So there's a lot of people visible here. A lot of Cups cards. It's nice that we've got both the King and Queen of Cups either side of the 2 of Cups. That's really nice. So Cancer, Scorpio, Pisces coming through very, very strongly, but also Taurus, Virgo, Capricorn as well. Now, I'm always struck by the King and Queen of Cups in this deck, especially the Queen of Cups, in how they look sort of desperate, sort of like they're begging for something, or they're praying and they're desperately, desperately hoping that something is going to happen or that something is not going to happen. It always strikes me in this deck. So it feels like there's 2 people in this situation who are really like have everything crossed for something to happen, or they're really, really throwing everything at trying to achieve a certain goal, or they're hoping something's going to come through, or I kind of see this as well with the Two of Cups and the Eight of Swords, which are both, the Eight of Swords, we see these people being separated here, and then the Two of Cups as well. Even though it's a card of coming together, it is kind of separating the two of them. So I'm wondering if this is more like two people who really, really miss one another, and are sort of hoping and praying that they're going to be able to see each other soon, or just sort of saying like, I hope this person's safe, or I hope they're okay. Like, there's an element of, this is what I really am hoping for in these cards, and I'm leaning more towards it being a goal, because we've got the Knight of Pentacles, indicating working hard for something, or trying to do something methodically and cleverly. I'm wondering if some of you are maybe hoping to rent a property, or hoping to complete a sale on a house, or hoping to get a certain result in a test or an exam, something like that. But it feels like it affects more than one person. So it could be, two people who are both going for the same exam and they're really hoping they get the same results, but they're probably romantically connected. Or there's a crush situation going on there. It could be that one person has sat an exam and the other person is doing like a different exam, not academic, maybe like a training qualification or a driving test, something like that. I just feel as though there's two people really, really hoping for a particular outcome in this week. And it's like more than just I hope. It's like I really desperately hope that this is going to happen because of all the hard work I've put in, and I don't want that to be for nothing. And I've been dreaming of this for so long. It feels important. Okay, so I'm just going to say that. Obviously fit this into your situation however you understand it, but for me it seems something big, like test results, could be health related, those kinds of tests, hoping that it's going to come back clear. It could be house sale, but whatever this is, with it only being a week, what this is already. This is not like something that springs up out of the blue. This is something that you've been working on for a long time, and you're hoping this is going to be the result, or this is going to be the outcome, or I'm hoping this all goes smoothly. Could be travel plans, maybe. There's been a lot of cancellations recently. Maybe you're just desperately hoping that the holiday you've saved so much for is going to go well and without any problems. Knight of Pentacles can indicate travel. Also, if we look at the Two of Cups, there's this image of the boats. They're looking out at the horizon with the vehicles there. So it could be related to that, and also with the Cups cards crossing water. Okay, so then we have the Healer of the Ages, number 51. This actually landed in the reverse. And also Angel of Love, number 49, which also came out in the reverse position. So like I said, the love is important here. It seems to be a central theme of the week. And the healer, maybe it's that there's been an argument and both parties are desperately hoping to reconcile, or hoping it won't be as bad as they previously thought it was. It could be medical related, as I said earlier, but don't want to scare you. If this is medical related, this is something you're already aware of, because you would already have had the tests or be thinking about booking an appointment, having the test this week. And with them both coming out in the reverse, it's like this is something that in this week I'm seeking resolution for. I'm seeking some sort of outcome. It feels unresolved. I'm hoping for this, but it's not quite completed yet. Embarking on an adventure, I savor the wonders of the world. So this could well be travel for some of you, but like I said, it could also be a big thing like getting those test results, getting a new home to go to, communicating freely. I communicate from the depths of my being. So it's very important to be open, to level with each other, to let the other person know how you're feeling. This feels like a romantic partner, but if not, then it is like a very, very, very best friend, like extremely close best friend, or it is a crush, someone that you are romantically inclined towards. Let's get a card from the lovely New Lantern Oracle. Thank you again, Raj, for sending in these gorgeous cards. Okay. 2 messages here. So we've got number 6, trusting tricksters. The trickster's only power is your trust. You are always free to withdraw it. And then number 7, which seems to be in a similar vein, distorted perceptions. Reality is rarely what we are raised to believe it is. So I'm wondering if this is where the communicating freely comes from, because it feels like there's a fear here of not being told the full situation, or not having all of the answers, not having the full facts. There's a fear of misjudging the situation. But I think this is mainly coming in from anxiety. Like, I don't really see from these cards anyone cheating you, lying to you, doing something behind your back. So I feel like it's more to do with a situation where you're just anxious and you're just hoping that you're going to get your preferred outcome. And I do see you probably praying a lot this week, or meditating on a particular outcome, or just hoping against hope that this is going to happen, manifestation, etc. I just really get an urgency from these cards. Vergeltung, number 2. Retribution. Bedürftigkeit, number 9. Neediness. Yeah, there's that desperation feeling again. Like, I need this to happen. Look at how both cards show someone on their knees, just like this image, and this person sort of imploring a higher power to help them. There's a real desperation here. So this is really something that is, I can't stress how important it is for you. Group 2, it's going to be different for everyone, but it just seems like this, you can't stop thinking about it. It just completely occupies your mind all the time, and that's what's causing this anxiety, this stress, this paralyzing fear that it won't work out as you'd hoped. And the Vergeltung, it's retribution, but I often actually translate this card as resentment, because it's a card where you start to blame someone else for a certain outcome, even if you know logically it's not their fault. You think, well, if you'd just helped me more, this would have happened, or if you hadn't have been like that, I would never have had to have done that, and that would have meant that the outcome was better. So it could be that you're already falling into these patterns, thinking if it doesn't happen, this is who's to blame, or if it doesn't happen, I'll never forgive myself because I did this, or because I didn't do that, or because I didn't spend enough time doing XYZ. So really be careful of not falling into that thought process. Like it says here, you're always free to withdraw it. The trickster's only power is your trust. In some cases, the trickster can be our own mind. It can be our perceptions, these distorted perceptions, like it says here, can be our negative self-talk. So if you find that you're talking yourself into some real negativity towards yourself or another, I would advocate trying to acknowledge that and reverse it as much as possible, or try and acknowledge it when those thoughts come up, because it's not wrong to have those thoughts, but then just be like, this is not going to be helpful to me, it's not going to be productive in the long run, move forward. Do as best as you can to sort of set those thoughts aside. In fact, I'd quite like to get a romance card for you, Group 1. Boshaftigkeit, number 6, has come out here. That's wickedness or malice. And number 81, Kreativität, creativity. So I think that Boshaftigkeit card, the malice or wickedness, is sort of connected more to this Vergeltung card, like we've just been talking about. Try and set those thoughts aside. Creativity, thinking of creative solutions, thinking your way around a problem, possibly. Honeymoon, enjoy the bliss of holiday time together. And that's possibly what's causing the anxiety, actually. It could be that you're worried that a bubble that you feel like you're in is about to burst, and that's causing you some stress, some pain, anxiety. It could be that there is just this real feeling of like, when's it going to end? I have this awful sense that things are going to collapse soon. You know, it could be like not a paranoid thing, but like a self-sabotaging thing where once you feel like things are going well, you start immediately looking for what's going to go wrong. But I do think for some people, for some of you, this is more pointing towards travel and spending time with a loved one, because I do sense still that although it's not the majority, I think some of you, this situation is talking about visiting your partner, your crush, your very close loved one, and knowing that it's just for a set period of time, and therefore already feeling anxious about leaving before you've even got there, and potentially also, like I said earlier, fearing that the trip itself may not go to plan or may not take place at all due to sort of travel chaos or other things that you've got going on. But I just think that the anxiety isn't helping, and the fears and the worries and the possible resentful thoughts, it's just not going to help you move forward. We have the girl in this little, it's a light bulb, but it looks like a wasp, and she's swinging on a swing. I use this card to represent nostalgia. And then we've got the sheep being counted and being placed into this machine where they're becoming clouds. And with this, I think of ungroundedness. I think of fears, fantasies, the subconscious, dreams, etc. So this all fits in with the mind, doesn't it? We've got the base card of this spiral, this loop, this endless cycle, the paper folding and folding until it becomes a real bird, and then the cycle starting over again. And to me, that's symbolic of a mind that won't stop thinking. And this nostalgia, this fear that it's not going to be like it used to be, this fear that you're going to somehow let down your past self by not receiving the outcome that you'd hoped. This, in fact, this card could actually indicate that it's keeping you awake at night with the counting sheep reference. Chaos and conflict, yeah, number 33. Wow. And yet I don't see any real conflict. I don't see people arguing, I don't see betrayal, I don't see anger, which is why I feel like it's probably more of a mental thing, more of an anxiety thing. Which is good, because that means that you can then, you have the power over it, you can make decisions, you can take back the power. Let's just get a quick message about where your blind spot is right now, group 1. What are you not seeing? Number 75. Okay, I don't think I've pulled this one before. Let me check the guidebook, see which one that is. 75. Incompatibility. Okay, if you've drawn this sigil, incompatibility is present and you're not seeing or acknowledging it. This could be incompatibility with anything such as another person, a living environment, a health or spiritual practice, a group or a job. You're being called to stop trying to force a square peg into a round hole and accept this incompatibility so you can allow yourself or someone else to gravitate to what is compatible instead of continuing to try to change what will not change. This is one of those times that the pain does not mean positive growth. It means either you're resisting your true self or someone else's true self, or someone else is resisting your true self or their own. For anything to improve, you need to own up to the incompatibility and stop forcing yourself or anyone else sideways. Gravitate and let them gravitate towards something that is truly compatible. So this is interesting because it seems like there is this creeping disagreement, but again, it doesn't feel like an argument. It feels like this person prefers to prioritize this, whereas I prefer to prioritize that. Or it feels like, you know, we both want sort of different things now, but in the long run, it's not like that. In the long run, it will be fine, or the other way around. I think there's also, with the resentment card, this actually makes sense with this card, there's a fear of guilt if one of you gets the desired outcome and the other one doesn't. Guilt or resentment, depending on whether it's you who gets the positive outcome or not. In the case of things like both people sitting test results and things like that, I think that this is a possible fear that one will get through and the other one won't, or one will get what they're hoping for and the other person won't. There's a fear with this card, I think, that compromise is not enough. Like, either you're never going to be happy with compromise, or compromise is not what's needed in this situation, because the two viewpoints are so completely different that you need to just step away from the situation and look at it completely differently. I hope that makes sense in your particular situation, Group 1, but that's what I'm seeing with this. Yeah, number 1, you create your own reality. What you want wants you to. What do you want to experience? And this sums up the whole reading for me, is this message of the thought processes. When you find yourself spiraling into anxiety, you're actually fueling more anxiety into your life. When you find yourself not trusting people, it kind of subconsciously tells yourself, well, you know, no one deserves my trust. And it just creates this cycle, like we saw with that card with the paper and the bird, this vicious cycle that you can't seem to get out of, where things just seem to become more chaotic and more conflicted and more distorted. So at the end of this week, I do think you can find a resolution. But I think one of the underlying keys to that resolution is the way that you're thinking, the way that you're perceiving a situation, because it's not just like, I need to think positively. It's also something like, I need to stop viewing the situation in a certain way because it will be better viewed from a different angle, because how we're going about it now is not conducive to anyone's benefit. Does that make sense? Like, this whole compromise isn't enough message. It needs to be viewed completely differently, and the conversation needs to start completely afresh. Let's get your charms and dice, Group 1, just to see what extra insight they can give us to your week ahead. Really interesting reading so far. So this musical symbol, it actually just landed in my hand, but I just chucked it and it landed on the creativity card. So that's nice because I use that as a creativity message. Also sometimes indicative of inspiration or sound healing, using music as therapy, as something that relaxes you. Over here, this I think is quite important to the reading as well. We've got Alice in Wonderland and this clock. And I think this is partially what the situation is hinging on as well, is timing. When I get that charm, I always think someone is anxious about time, either because a deadline is approaching or because there's a fear that things are moving too quickly, or the opposite, they're not moving quickly enough and it's frustrating. So there is some issue here with timing, and timing seeming to make things more difficult, or time seeming to loom over the situation. We have the binoculars, insight, looking deeply into a situation. Sometimes not as positive as it sounds, actually, because sometimes with the binoculars they come out to show us that we've sort of zoomed in too much into the situation and we need to take that step back. If we put down the binoculars, we suddenly see everything in much greater perspective, rather than focusing on the small details and really getting lost in those. So consider how that might be relevant to your situation. We have the snowman, which is a winter charm. Winter is important here. Practical, the reverse of the Virgo charm, so that is Virgo showing up again. Then we've got the two dolphins, two people who support each other, who help each other, who care about each other. And that's why I didn't want to say it's an incompatibility in terms of the relationship, because I just wasn't picking that up elsewhere in the reading. So while I'm sure that this card sometimes hints at that, I don't think that's what's being said right now. I think it's to do with the situation more generally and how it's currently being approached. Then we've got the Six of Wands, the Hallelujah charm. Victory, well done. Something is going to be celebrated, something is going to be achieved, something is going to make a person feel victorious and like they've sort of gotten their life back on track and they're back in the saddle and they've done really well. So please take that as a positive omen as far as the outcome that you're hoping for goes. And let's take a look at your dice. Okay, the sixth set of dice, which ones are those? Those are the Voyager's dice. hinting at travel again. Some kind of holiday maybe. Traveling to see someone. And we're rolling 2 of them for you today. Okay, group 1. Okay, so the sunshine, that's really nice. Optimism, confidence, growth, warmth, yang energy, masculine energy in some cases. Sun, I also think of Leo as well as being quite closely related to the sun. There is quite a lot of golden energy in your cards. There's a lot of bright colours in amongst the darker things. So there is that hope there in the quandary and in the confusion and the darkness. And that's also shown here with the treasure chest. It, you know, looks quite dark, but it opens up and there's this gold gleaming out of it. And that's how I'm sort of viewing your situation, is it's surrounded by this black cloud of negativity or anxiety or fear or worry, self-doubt, etc. But there is this sort of golden center that's holding it all together, whether that's the relationship itself, whether that's hope, whether that's the work you've already put in that ensures the good outcome, whether it is the support you get from this person and vice versa. It feels like that is the center of the situation, which ultimately will win out over the darkness around the edges. So this is symbolic of abundance in the sense of physical wealth, but also in the sense of positive outcomes and happy energy. So I hope this has given you some encouragement, group 1, and I hope it's helped a little bit at least to set your mind at rest and to start examining thought patterns and seeing things more comfortably and more gently and being kinder to yourself and trying to step back from the energy of urgency and desperation, because that can just leave you feeling completely helpless in a situation when actually that's not the case at all. So I hope you've enjoyed this, group 1. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you for watching this video. Thank you if you leave a comment. And thank you especially if you're a subscriber. Have a lovely rest of your day and take care. Do check out my links below in the description box. I have my Patreon if you want to get more content from me, and if you want to support me, that's over there. I offer private readings and healing sessions on Etsy, as well as some other services too. And yeah, just check out whatever's below. I always forget everything that's in the description box because I just keep adding things, or I take things out if they're no longer important. But I hope this has been helpful to you. Have a lovely rest of your day. Take care, and I'll see you again soon. Bye bye. Hey there, group 2. Welcome to your reading. If you chose Path and the Circle of Life Tarot, then this is going to be a reading for the next roughly 7 days, so your week ahead. It's a timeless reading, so whenever you watch this, there will hopefully be a message here for you. So with you choosing the Path card, it does feel like maybe you're very aware of your journey at this time. Maybe you are going to be traveling soon, or you are going to make some big changes, because the path is sort of, I don't know if you noticed this consciously or subconsciously, but the path is curved. So it does suggest that you are going to be moving in a different direction, that you're going to be making some changes or sort of big choices. It sort of reminds me actually of the Judgment card. I have a deck where that card is called New Beginnings, and it's really a crossroads card, and that just seems to really summarize that card very well for me, the phrase New Beginnings. So let's look at your tarot. Let's see what this wants to tell us. Group 2, week ahead. Okay, so we're starting out with the 5 of Pentacles. Then we are moving on to the 2 of Swords, the Star, lovely Star, Aquarius energy, and then the 7 of Pentacles. There's an interesting vibe to this week, actually. Group 2, it feels like there is some worry going on here, and it's associated with waiting and decision making. So what I would say is it feels like you are maybe waiting to hear back about a particular decision. Maybe you've applied for a job, maybe you've put an offer in on a house, maybe you are it could be something like you've told someone your feelings and you're waiting for them to respond, but I don't think it's like it doesn't feel like a relationship thing to me. It feels like it's something transactional or something career related. Like it feels like it's more in the logical / financial area of your life. So job interview, job application, rental application, house offer, something along those lines. And it feels like it's big, and it's causing you a little bit of worry at the start of the week because you're not sure what's going on. I actually think possibly you might get your response this week potentially, but there's also a fear of like, can I afford this? What happens with this and this? Costs associated with moving, or how am I going to manage on my new salary? If I have to relocate, is that going to be enough for me to live there? Like there's just a feeling of, is this going to work out? And the Seven of Pentacles also just this fear of waiting. But I say that this woman in the basket looks pretty steadfast, pretty reliable, I'd say. So I think that's a nice message. And of course the star as well indicates that you probably don't really have anything to worry about, or that by the end of the week you're feeling a lot more optimistic, a lot brighter about the whole situation. So I love that the star is showing up there because that's very reassuring. It's very encouraging about your situation. So let's get some more messages. Let's move on to oracle cards. $47, the thinking woman. Yeah, like I said, it seems more in the sort of rational or financial aspect of your life. I think the thinking woman could also be you, indicating sort of like thinking in the sense of like this doesn't leave your thoughts this week, or you're overthinking it maybe, potentially. But I also think it's more of like a very rational thing, like you're writing down pros and cons lists, or you're working out your finances to see how much things would cost each week or month, or what fees will be incurred with whatever it is that you're doing. It feels very measured, like this is what I need to know so that I have full control of the situation and I'm not going to be knocked by something, like something that doesn't I didn't factor in initially. I don't want to be caught off my guard with anything that happens. Could be that you've applied for funding, maybe. Could be that you are even maybe hoping to start a business and you're just in those stages of working out, does this add up financially? Does it make financial sense? Cornucopia, number 11. What a gorgeous card, group 2, to allay your fears. Cornucopia, wealth and abundance. Having everything you need, being provided for. What a lovely message. That really fits nicely with the star message as well, of reassurance. Optimism. The star indicates being on the right path or being guided to make the right choices. So I do think that you've got a lot of help in the spirit realm. Even if you don't consciously notice it, they are guiding you. They're putting the right people, the right situations in your path. The right opportunities you've been waiting for. Breaking barriers. I'm expanding beyond limitations into joy and freedom. What a lovely message. So yeah, this real transition from a space of worry or a space of anxiety into a place where you feel more confident and you feel more like you're in control. Let's get a message from the lovely new Lantern Oracle from the very kind, very generous Raj. Really excited to share this deck with you. I get a very strong independence vibe from this card as well, especially with it when it's matched with the thinking woman. Like it just seems like you're making decisions for you right now. And even if someone's helping you, like if you're buying a house jointly, for example, or you are moving for a new job, but you're relocating with your partner or something, it feels like there's a very I'm doing this vibe to this week. I'm really independent. So this card actually came out for group 1, so maybe it's a bit of a collective theme this week. Number 6, trusting tricksters. The trickster's only power is your trust. You are always free to withdraw it. So with group 1, as I think with this reading actually, I didn't get the feeling that it was a person that was being spoken about. I didn't get the feeling at all that someone was lying or that someone wasn't trustworthy. It felt more like your mind was the trickster. Your mind was being your own worst enemy. So I think that's showing up here as well in the form of second guessing yourself, potentially some little doubts of low self-confidence or anxiety about what might happen, which is, it feels really real at the time, but the anxiety is kind of unfounded because we've got these lovely, encouraging, reassuring messages about the outcome, but it feels as though your mind can really be a bit of a barrier in this week, and you're breaking barriers in this week, but the barrier in the meantime, unless you can work around it, kind of stops you enjoying your week, if that makes sense. It gets in the way sometimes, it brings you down, or it causes you to stress about things that with hindsight you'll realize you had no reason to even worry about, you know, and it's because you're trying to be uber prepared. You want to have everything sorted, which is completely admirable and understandable. But when you find it tipping over into anxiety, or if you feel like your mind and your thinking is making you feel helpless, that's when you need to address it, because you know this isn't helping you anymore. This isn't being, conductive to something positive, or it's not helping me to make changes. It's just making me feel worse. Group 2. What have we got here? A few cards from Dixit. So we've got two pandas, mother and baby, cuddling each other. I really love this card. It's such a nice image of support and compassion and nourishing, nurturing kindness. So that's why I did pick up that you're maybe not doing this entirely alone. Maybe you've got a partner, or you've got a really close friend or a loving family member who's helping you through this, who's kind of, even if they're not involved directly in the decisions, they're there to support you when you need to be supported, or when you need to vent, or when you just need a cuddle. There is someone there to talk about things, or to give you that support. So that's a really lovely card. Then we've got the Ghost of the Lion. I don't know if you can see it well. There, the Ghost of the Lion sort of lurking in the forest. And I get this card coming up when people feel lonely, when they feel abandoned or lacking in confidence. Because if we think of the lion more generally, obviously there's a link to Leo now in this reading, so Leo might be important as a zodiac sign this week. But we think of the lion as being strong and confident and majestic and bold and, you know, magnanimous and huge-hearted. And when we see the ghost of the lion looking quite sorry for himself, looking quite small, it suggests an absence of those things. It suggests like maybe you once felt that way, but now you feel like you've lost your mojo, or lost that ability to back yourself in that way. So I do feel like you're someone who has a lot of power, a lot of energy, a lot of spark, group 2, but it's just like with all the events piling up on top of each other, I feel in this week there's going to come a point where you feel a little bit run down, or you feel like you've lost your momentum, in a sense, like you can't back yourself anymore, you can't big yourself up to yourself anymore. And it's interesting actually that next to this support card, this compassion and nurturing card, we've got this card of loneliness. I'm wondering if you know deep down that you're being supported, but you still feel like you're going through it alone, even if you know that's irrational, you know? And maybe that's causing some problems with this disconnect of feelings. And then we have got the person in the armchair with this weird hand, ghostly hand coming out of their staff. I always think of manipulation when I see this card, or I think of someone being able to do something behind the scenes, or being able to have a kind of subconscious influence, or influencing something without actually being there. So this could be where the trickster comes in. But I'm not getting a bad vibe from that card. Often I do. When I see it, I think, bad person, or someone to stay away from. But in this instance, I'm feeling it's more like you're trying to get something sorted, but you're having to do it remotely. And that's causing a lot of anxiety for you, because it would be so much easier if you could just be there to sort it out, but you can't due to reasons. Or it's like you're having to convince someone to come round to your way of thinking, and it's hard to do that, but it's necessary. Like, this is what I'm feeling. I don't get a nasty, manipulative, untrustworthy vibe from that card today. I just get a sense of like, I'm having to do things in a way that's more complicated than it should be, or I'm having to do things like with more steps involved than I might otherwise be able to if it was just me doing this. Like, kind of get the feeling that you have to convince someone to do something, get someone on side, do something from a distance or over email rather than over the phone. It just feels like there's a lot of back and forth that wouldn't be there in other circumstances. Hope that makes sense, group one. Okay, so quite a few cards coming through from this particular deck. Let's see. The first one to come out was Machtkampf, number 15, power struggle. That really sums up what I was sort of feeling here. Even if it's not a situation where you're trying to convince someone to go with your way of thinking, it can feel like just an ordeal if you're having to do something remotely, or you're having to ring up somewhere like 10 times a day or email back and forth. It feels like you're just trying to get the situation tied up and resolved easily, but it feels like other people are putting up the barriers, or other people are making it unnecessarily bureaucratic or complicated, and you're just like, look, I just want this to be done. So that's, I think, where the loneliness or the feeling of like becoming gradually disheartened comes from, just because you're worn out with the situation. But genuinely, I think you should be confident in this situation. Werturteile. Number 4, value judgments. You might feel judged by someone. Again, especially if it's like a job interview process where you're having to go to lots of interviews and you feel like you're being really heavily scrutinized, or it could be that you're being vetted, going through background checks or something, credit history. Like, you just feel like people are really peering into your details when you don't really want them to. Dunkle Geschichte, number 21, dark story. This is important because this is what I got from the thinking and the 5 of Pentacles, and a little bit with the Trusting Trickster's message, is that you can end up spiraling out of control in the mental sense. With the dark story card, this comes in when we start telling ourselves a negative story about our situation. When we start telling ourselves, this is going to happen, that won't happen how I want it to, instead this is what's going to happen. And it's just never helpful. You know, it's great to be, on the logical side, prepared for any outcome, and I see you trying to do that, but it's not great to catastrophize and expect the worst and sort of live in fear of a certain outcome happening. So really have a good think about what's going on there. Group 2, what you can do to take back control of the situation, especially if you catch yourself spiraling or feeling doubtful. Group 2. Okay, then here we've got number 75, Heilung, healing. That's a lovely card. Number 12, Grauen, dread. And that's what I was picking up, this feeling of, I just don't want to go through this again. I just don't want to have to deal with this anymore. So it could be that you're just really worn out with the back and forth. Like I mentioned, people just needing this and that, and feeling like you're jumping through hoops to get what should rightfully be yours, or what should be so much easier to achieve. The healing card being there, I think this shows that you can get past it. But it's just like, oh, another day of this, or another form to fill out, or another interview or another interaction with this person just so that I can get my result. So please try not to be disheartened, group 2, because I see you reaching your lovely outcome, but I feel like it would be an easier ride if you were able to keep your spirits up, if that makes sense. Between worlds, yeah. Number 3, this feeling of like, I'm almost there. Almost there in the point of like, I'm kind of pulling out of my previous experience, but I'm not quite settled into the new one just yet. So like I said, this could be very well to do with moving house or changing jobs. It could be that you've been through a breakup and you're dealing with the very practical matters of like who owns what and financials and things like that. Or more generally, it could be just this change between lifestyles. But it's really like I've kind of started to withdraw from my previous way of living, and I'm ready to go into this new way of living, but it's not quite ready for me yet because of all these things I need to do, or all these forms I need to fill in, or these checks that need to be done. And it's just this sense of being between residences, jobs, lives, places, like just feeling like I'm hanging in there and I feel very suspended right now. I feel everything feels very ephemeral and transient, and I don't feel fully grounded. Let's see what your blind spot is right now, group 2, what you're not seeing. Number 33. Interesting, you've just got 3 and now you've got 33. Let's take a look in the guidebook, see which one this is. 33. Interesting, your blind spot is shame. If you've drawn this sigil, you are not seeing or admitting to your shame. You need to attend to your shame. Shame is one of the most misunderstood aspects of social behavior. The reason for this is that most people think that shame is solely a mental and emotional response to self-diminishing experiences, beliefs, and thoughts. The truth is, shame is much more primal than that, and it's more debilitating. To understand shame, imagine a sea anemone. If you poke a sea anemone with your finger, it will immediately pinch itself closed. This reaction happens at an instinctual level. It happens without the sea anemone having to think about making it happen. It's an organic, biological, affective reaction. This visceral reaction is comparable to your fight or flight mechanism. You don't have to think about jumping out of the way of an oncoming car. When your body perceives a threat, it reacts and you feel that reaction. Shame is actually a primitive reaction encoded in your organism, just like your fight or flight mechanism. But the difficulty with shame is that we want to be, the thing that we're trying to avoid, the thing that we want to be away from, is ourselves. And that's why I actually think that shame is one of the most difficult feelings to experience, because if we think about the sort of spectrum of human emotion, sadness, how do we let sadness out? We cry or we scream. Anger, shouting, punching things if need be, going for a run to let out that built up energy. Happiness, we might smile, clap our hands, jump up and down, hug someone, squeal if we're really happy, you know. But shame, it's a really difficult one. There's no way to really get rid of that feeling except time, and there's certainly no socially acceptable thing like crying or shouting or smiling that I can think of that sort of is seen as a coping strategy for shame. So I do think it's a difficult one because we just don't really know how to respond to it, and there's in many ways no way of successfully responding to it because shame makes us want to run away from ourselves. So how this is fitting into the situation will obviously depend upon what your situation is. I'm thinking for some of you it might be tied into the low self-confidence. You might feel like an imposter, sort of imposter syndrome, if it's going for a new job or something. For some of you, I do think it's got a financial aspect. So it could be that you are moving in with a partner and buying a house or getting a tenancy agreement, a joint agreement, means showing your bank details and bank statements and things, and you don't really want people knowing how much you've got in the bank, whether it's like £1 or hundreds of thousands of pounds. You feel uncomfortable with sharing that. Some of you maybe have Scorpio or Pluto in the second house. There's just a sense of like, I don't like this. Maybe even Lilith in the second house. Like there's a feeling of shame or anxiety or like real, I need to protect myself in terms of having people see how much you're worth. Maybe in terms of credit history, there might be some criminal background there for you that you're uncomfortable about sharing. But it really feels like your privacy is being infringed upon in a way that makes you uncomfortable. Could be Taurus in the 12th house, even, because it feels like other people go through this and they're fine with it, but for some reason it's affecting you more than it would affect most. I don't think you've done anything to be ashamed of, but it feels like, I don't like this. I don't like what I have to do in order to get this result, and other people are okay with it and everyone goes through it, but I just don't feel happy with it. So whatever that means for you, however you understand that, just know that that's your blind spot in this situation. And the guidebook says, ask yourself, what do I feel ashamed of in this situation? What about this situation makes me feel like a bad person or defective or not good enough or wrong? You need to directly address and lovingly resolve whatever comes out of that questioning. So, you know, if it's something that most people are fine with or get through perfectly fine, for example, something like your partner is going to see your bank statements and it's nothing to do with like excessive spending or what you've been buying, it's to do with having little money in the bank account, you know, your partner probably knows that already, okay? Or if it's to do with having a lot more maybe than they expected, what about that is so shameful? Do you feel ashamed in this situation because you've kept it from them? Why did you keep it from them? Is it because you were worried they would try and relieve you of some of that money? Or is it just because you're private with your finances? You know, is it really that bad? What about maybe going more deeply? Is there a shame around, for example, your partner saying that you have all this money and you subconsciously not feeling like you deserve to have that money and therefore having it publicly displayed? You know, not publicly, it's not being shouted from every TV, but, you know, having your partner aware of it and maybe like an estate agent or a solicitor aware of it. What about that is triggering for you? Why do you feel like you don't deserve to be wealthy? Why do you feel like you're not worthy of owning that amount of money that presumably you've inherited or you've worked hard to gain? What is that? So whatever the situation is, it might not be what I've just laid out, but whatever it is, ask yourself questions along those lines to see where it's coming from, because I think you might really benefit from that group too. Really benefit from understanding the underlying circumstances of why you're feeling that way. Number 7, things are not what they seem. You are only trapped by your illusion. What freedom do you seek? This is very interesting because we've got that trickster message, trusting tricksters and sort of illusions and things. The dark story is also about an illusion. You know, those dark things are not going to happen, or it's not what the situation is, but we're telling ourselves it's likely because we're afraid. And then the breaking barriers message about breaking into freedom. What is all this tying up? There's something here that you're worried about or that you're telling yourself will happen, and it's not actually going to happen. It's not something you need to be worried about, group 2. And this could be related to the shame thing. You know, you might think if they know that I've got no money, they're going to leave me. Or if they know that I've done this in the past, they're not going to want to, you know, move house with me or buy a house with me. Or if they know I've got all of this money and haven't told them, they're going to hate me. There's something, you know, that you're telling yourself that I don't think is actually going to happen. Let's get your charms and then we'll do your dice. Really interesting reading so far. Okay, so we have got the snowflake. Wintertime. Could also in this instance be referring to vulnerability though. You know how snowflake is used derogatively in the modern sense. It could be referring to your feelings of like, I should just get a grip. I'm feeling vulnerable but don't deserve to. There's something here that you're really blaming yourself for, or really giving yourself a hard time about. The cactus. Cactus shows that you are either not letting people in or you're in survival mode. You know how cacti can really survive in the harshest environments with just a few little resources. Could also be to do with the privacy as well, like you don't want to let people in, you don't want people to see what's going on for you. We have the angel wing, being protected, being under the protection of angels. Property of Davy Jones as well. This is the reverse of the treasure map charm. But when it lands on property of Davy Jones, it's like when you feel you owe someone something. And also I'm really looking at that and seeing a contract. So some kind of important document in this week that you're signing. And this could again be bringing up these feelings or these issues for you. We've got the little unicorn, symbol of the inner child, but also a symbol of your purity and your innocence. So again, I really think you need to remind yourself, I've done nothing wrong. You know, if it's a finances question, I don't get the feeling that you've actually lied to anyone. You know, if it turns out that you have hundreds of thousands in the bank or something and your partner was unaware, you can just say, well, you know, you never asked me, or we never talk about finances and there was no reason to bring it up. We were going quite fine. Like, this is how I'm feeling. It's not a situation where you've actually lied to anyone or misled anyone. It's just never come up in conversation, or it's never been relevant to the situation because you've always paid your way, or there's never been money struggles that you could have helped with. Like, it just doesn't feel like there's actually been a betrayal or something that you ought to have shared when you weren't comfortable doing so. Does that make sense, group 2? You've done nothing wrong. Hope. This brings us back to the star now. This sense of encouragement, of reassurance, of optimism, more towards the end of the week. And the older woman, or the more mature woman. And that's interesting because we've got the thinking woman. So it could be that there's a woman and a man in this situation, or there's two women, but one is more... If there's two women, then it's one being more rational, more mature, or if it's a woman and a man, then the woman is doing most of the thinking, who's doing like a lot of rational planning, and is also possibly a little bit older. Like, you could, if you're the woman in this situation, you've got a male partner, you know, you can turn around and say, look, I'm older than you. I've been working a little bit longer, or I have had a little bit more time, even if it's just a year or so, to save up more money than you. You know, our situations are different. That could be what's going on here. Let's see your dice. Really interesting reading. So we've got the third set of dice. The 3 seems to be quite important as well, because you've also got quite a few cards that sort of add up to 3. Like down here you've got 21 and 12, which both boil down to 3. Let's get your dice. How many are we going to roll? Okay, that's a 0, so I'll roll again. 4. Okay. Group 2. Okay, so love. There it is, the support, the care, the companionship. This is also making me think, if you are going to reveal something like this that might come as a surprise to your partner, for example, I don't think it's going to make a difference. Yes, they might be surprised, maybe they'll be a little bit hurt, but I don't think it's going to create the catastrophe that you think it's going to, group 2. So I think you can set your mind at rest at least a little bit about that as a result of this reading. This person loves you and cares about you, and that bond is stronger than whatever surprise you have in store for them. We have the spider, creating your own reality. Painstaking work, complicated situations. The tentacles curling around the door. I think of the tip of the iceberg when I see this dice, like you're just seeing the surface of a situation and not everything else that's underneath it. Could be that you're also sort of putting on this surface, this mask, this brave face, when actually there's so many complicated emotions going on within you, like this feeling lonely when you actually have support, you know, this feeling of like, I know in reality this is the situation, but how I feel is the opposite, and that's uncomfortable, or I don't feel comfortable sharing that because it might invalidate the other person's support that they've given to me. There's this feeling of like surface and the deeper picture not being the same. And then the zombie, resurrection, new beginnings, new life, you know, coming back, bouncing back maybe when you feel like you've been knocked down completely, when you feel like all is lost, bouncing back and having that renewed vigor. When you feel like you've already become this ghost of yourself, you just suddenly find that strength, or you suddenly get the news you've needed, which then gives you the resolve and the strength and the energy to push through and achieve your goal. So group 2, it is a very positive reading overall, but my readings always go very deeply into a situation, so I can see there's a lot going on for you in this week. There's a lot of very complicated thought processes, there's some complex emotions, and a lot of things that I think need unpacking, even from childhood, that are affecting this situation and causing you to worry or fear or feel shame when you have no reason to. You have no need to be ashamed. of whatever the situation is bringing up for you. So group 2, I hope you're able to identify and work through that in this week. I hope you've got some reassurance and a little bit of peace of mind from this reading that you are more than capable and that you will very likely achieve what it is that you're hoping for. You have every reason to feel optimistic and to feel faithful and hopeful of achieving your goals. Group 2, thank you for being here. Thank you for watching. Please let me know in the comments how this resonated with you. Please like, share, and subscribe if you enjoyed it. That massively helps me out. Have a lovely rest of your day and take care. And if you would like to get more involved with what I do private readings and offer private healing sessions and other services on my Etsy page. And I also have my Patreon page if you would like to get more involved, if you would like to access more content from me and also support me while doing so, then that's the place to go and do that. And thank you so much for everyone who's interested. Take care of yourselves, group 2, and I'll see you again soon. Bye bye. Hey there, group 3. Welcome to your reading if you chose the lock and also the Fae Tarot. This is going to be a reading for the next roughly 7 days. It is a timeless reading, so whenever you watch this video, there will hopefully be a message for you here. Because you've chosen the lock, this does make me think that you're possibly dealing with some kind of problem or mystery or decision maybe that you need to find a solution to at this time, because the lock suggests something that isn't resolved or something that is creating a barrier or an issue. However, with the lock, I do also think of things like property or a car, for example. So that could also be playing a role here. You might be getting keys to a new house, so you might be buying a new vehicle. Could be about secrecy or privacy. Let's see what your tarot has to say, what's coming up in the next 7 days. Group 3. Okay, nothing more from that deck. So we have got the Queen of Swords here, Gemini, Libra, Aquarius. We also have the 8 of Wands. And then the 4 of Pentacles. And look at this imagery. He is chained to this wheel, and yet there's the key. So the lock in this instance has the key in it, which does suggest, with the key being within grabbing distance, he could jump down. The chain is more than big enough for him to reach that. This does suggest that you can solve your situation or free yourself from whatever difficulty or dilemma you're currently experiencing. But I do get the feeling that you've kind of become, what's the word, like ground down by it. So I'm not quite sure yet exactly what the situation is, group 3, but it feels as though you've been sensible for a very long time, or you've been diligently working on something for a very long time, and everything is now like going ahead a million miles an hour, and it just feels like there's so much that you need to deal with. There's so much that is demanding your time and attention that you just can't even think anymore. And so you're kind of disassociating from the situation, because you're thinking like, look, I've done so much for this already, and now there's this, and this that needs to be done, and I'm just so, so done, so tired with it, and it's all stressing me out because it's all piling up, and the deadline is very, very soon, and I know that once I get this thing out of the way, that's not the end of it, because there'll be a million more things that need my attention, and so it just feels like you're over it, sort of mentally and emotionally. You just don't feel like you have the energy to continue with this situation. So I'm really curious to see what your oracle cards are going to say. Do you think that you can come round from this and solve this, group 3? But I can sense your frustration and just the tiredness. Like there's just a real exhaustion with the whole situation. You're just shutting down to protect your energy. Yeah, 3rd chakra, Archangel Chamuel, number 37. The 3rd chakra is, of course, the solar plexus. And the solar plexus is the seat of our health and happiness. When we feel run down, we may have a struggling solar plexus. So this could be that you are literally feeling ill in a kind of psychosomatic way as a result of the situation. You could be feeling aches and pains, you could be tired, you could be having sort of cold-like symptoms because you're run down and therefore are more susceptible to pick up bugs and things that go around. You just feel like you're not at your best anymore, and it's because this situation's been dragging on for so long and you've been giving it your all, but you just don't feel like you have much left to give at the moment. The World, number 29. So moving, travel potentially involved in this. The World can also indicate completion, our connection with others. You want to bring this matter to a close. The world, it's also making me think about all the things that are in the world, the fact that it's just like a huge place. And I think that's how you're feeling right now. Like everyone wants a piece of you, or you're having to deal with 1,000,001 things. And it's just like, how much more can there possibly be? I feel so tired, or I feel like I'm just not getting any respite, or the weekend isn't enough for me to catch up on the sleep and the rest that I need in order to be ready for Monday. So come Monday, I'm just not anywhere near where I need to be to take on this situation. So I think prioritizing rest as soon as you can is going to be important, group 3, but it's just like you just don't see an opening for that right now. We've got sharing of yourself. I'm an incredibly generous being. And I think in a way that's where the problem lies. You've been helping others, or you've been doing things to make life easier for others, and in doing so you've forgotten yourself. Or you've been trying to do something with a partner, your family, colleagues at work, your team, your friends, etc. But you've ended up shouldering most of the work, most of the burden. Perhaps you're planning a holiday with your friends, for example, and you seem to be the only person in the friendship group that's doing the work and booking flights and looking for places, and you're just detaching from it. As a result, you're not excited about it anymore. That's the feeling I'm getting. Cherishing self. I accept and love myself. So there's that message, group 3, of taking care of yourself and jumping at the first possible opportunity to cherish and care for yourself. Healing the past. I step into my future with strength and clarity. So this is interesting, the healing the past message. I'm not sure what this is hinting at just yet, but it could mean that the current situation is being made worse by past experiences. Maybe it is triggering or reminding you, even on a subconscious level, of a past experience, and that's making it feel so much more difficult or more upsetting or more disappointing, more tiring for you, etc. Let's get a message from the lovely new Lantern Oracle. Thank you again to the lovely Raj for sending this in. Can't wait to share this deck with you all. Okay. I think, yeah, you've got 2 cards there. Number 3, wisdom in play. Our intuition knows more than we do. And number 4, strength of vulnerability. True power lies at the root of a perceived weakness. Interesting. So it could be that you feel that your generosity, for example, is a weakness, but actually that's where your strength lies, for example. It could be that you feel the fact that you're run down right now is a weakness, but actually it's your body telling you you need to rest, and that's listening to that is the strength. You might feel like listening to that sort of validates the weakness aspect, like it gives yourself permission to slack off, but it's not. It's listening to what your body is telling you to do before things get worse, and that's what this intuition is all about as well. It knows more than we do. You might feel like on the face of it things aren't that bad, I should be just getting on with it, but your body and your intuition knows better. And I think also this is like a channeled message coming in, so the triggering aspect for some of you could be to do with feeling taken for granted, feeling that people don't cherish you, that people don't respect you. Because if it is a situation where it's a group thing and you're the one doing all the work, or you're the one shouldering most of the burden, it feels like that is bringing back, even on a subconscious level, memories of times where you have felt unwanted, neglected, or disrespected or sort of overlooked by people who should have been grateful to you or should have cherished you like you deserved. So just take note, even if you're not consciously aware of it, things like that could be factoring into the situation and making it seem bigger than it is on an objective level. Okay, 2 white cards. Friede, number 43. That's a lovely card. Peace. Look at the man meditating in the center of the pool there. Finding peace. Finding that tranquility. And number 44, Vision. Vision. Interesting how you've got these repeating numbers. So 3 and 4 ascending numbers, and then 43 and 44. That's lovely. So peace and vision. This could be, we could read them together and say that you are being encouraged in this week to picture how your life could be more peaceful. What would you need to do, change, remove, add, in order to live a life that was more tranquil? Or it could just be that you are needing to jump upon those moments of peace that you find them, even if it's a sense of inner peace when around you a lot is going on. Sometimes we can sort of go into a meditative state at work, for example, and just retreat inwards. Could be that you create this vision of your happy place or your calm place that you're able to go to inwardly when things get tough. And from that you draw your strength. But I'm definitely picking up on your tiredness, group 3. Not just physical tiredness, but like a sort of emotional, mental tiredness with the whole situation. Like you just don't want to continue. Number 16, Klagen, complaints. You have genuine grievances against people not doing what they need to do, or against people who you feel are somehow mistreating you or not giving you the respect or attention that you deserve. Number 69, Fülle. This lovely cornucopia, abundance. Having everything you need, knowing that you will be provided for. That's a lovely card. To the sea, number 7. So again, that indication of traveling. And look at this girl as well. She looks quite downhearted. She's looking downwards, this little fairy. She looks like she doesn't really want to be there. The arrow is pointing forwards to the new destination, but the binoculars are pointing backwards. There's this urge or this real temptation to look back at the past. But we know that's not what we're meant to do. We know that we're meant to sail forwards, but nevertheless the urge is there. So just recognize that. Group 3, I would say don't give yourself a hard time if you find yourself this week in a really maudlin state, just wanting to sort of dwell on the past. This person looks a bit like they're dwelling in their face. They just look like they're wallowing in memories or past experiences, in their feelings. They don't look like they want to move themselves out of their current rut. You don't have to, but you are capable of it, group 3. I just want you to be aware of that. You are not helpless in this situation. You have the key that can unlock your situation. It's just about what you choose to do, how you choose to respond to the difficulties and the challenges and the circumstances that come your way. So then here we've got the Russian card with the man and his dog and his cat, all very broad and wide. And then we've got the person, this is kind of like the donkey and carrot symbol. There's the girl with the game controller, the console controller, and then the boy running after it. But of course he's never going to reach it because she's always dangling it in front of his face. And so I get how both of these fit into your situation. Firstly, with this card, it makes me think of enduring difficulties, of hardship, of sort of going through a difficult time, being prepared for it because they're all large and fluffy and, you know, well insulated, but the snow and the harsh environment just makes me think of getting through that tough time, or getting through conditions that aren't necessarily favorable or aren't necessarily enjoyable all of the time. And then here we've got this feeling of someone is disrespecting you, or someone is taking you for a ride, or making you try and do more than you should be doing or want to be doing, because they're too lazy to do it, or they think my time is more important than this person's time, so I should just make them do it, and that's clearly not fair. So be careful of who you're being generous to in this week ahead. Group 3, I can see that you're a very kind and generous person. You don't like turning people down. You don't like refusing to help others. But at the same time, there's a limit to that. You know, when you give too much, you end up giving away your entire self, and you need to hold on to that. And also, there are some people who will ask for help not because they truly need it, but because they're looking for what they can get. They're on the take, so to speak. And those people won't be respectful, and they won't be grateful, and they won't give you what you're due. Let's just check your blind spot in this situation, Group 3. What you're not seeing. Number 60. Wow, don't think I've pulled that one before. Let me check the guidebook. Have a look at what that one is. Number 60. Superiority. Okay. If you've drawn this sigil, you've fallen into the ego trap of superiority. Your ego's desire to see itself as better is clouding your awareness, judgment, and capacity to achieve what you really want in this scenario. The ego is preoccupied with comparison thinking. The ego is, after all, a self-concept, so it seeks to differentiate itself from others. We've learned that to be less than others is in any way is bad, and that it leads to things that threaten not only our self-esteem, but also our well-being and ability to get what we desire. It makes our self-concept negative and makes us feel prevented from what we want. For example, if a woman wants to have a relationship with a man and she perceives herself to be less attractive than another woman in the room, she will not feel equal to that woman. Her self-concept relative to her attractiveness will decrease negatively, and she will perceive herself to be prevented from what she wants. The amount of pain this kind of experience creates makes it obvious why we then begin to fight for equality, and even more than that, superiority. If you've drawn this sigil, you're being called to love. Stop focusing on yourself in terms of inferiority or superiority. Instead of thinking, speaking, and acting superior, redirect yourself and them towards recognizing their unique, intrinsic value. Okay, so with the superiority, this could be that another person is feeling superior to you and you're really feeling that. Like, you know, like I said, they were feeling that their time is more important than yours. Or why should they have to do the work when you can just do it? That genuinely, I think, for a lot of people is what is going on. But I think some of you, it might even be that you are repeatedly giving of yourself, because even though it's stressful and it leaves you feeling like you've got an empty cup, there's also a part of it that makes you feel like you're a good person for helping out, and that's great and that's fine. But just be aware, if that's why you're constantly doing things, it's also going to make you feel great and fine to look after yourself too. So that's your blind spot. Let's get one more card and then we'll do your charms and dice. Group 3. Okay, so we've got number 24. Anxiety isn't trying to limit you, but free you from a situation that no longer feels good. What is your discomfort trying to free you from? That has definitely been a message for the collective this week, has been about anxiety and what we do. And there's actually quite a few more cards that jumped out with that one, so I'm just going to take them all for you. You have number 27, the universe rewards motion. What guided action can you take today? That fits heavily with this Four of Pentacles image of inertia. You need to break the inertia and start moving. Number 14, forgiveness will set you free. What do you need to forgive yourself for? This could be related to the blind spot perhaps, or the past. And then number 32, when peace is your priority, peace, negativity cannot exist. How can you see through the eyes of source energy and prioritize your inner peace? And that is really essential to your reading as well, as we've seen Group 3. So let's take a look at your charms and dice and see what else they can tell us about your week ahead, what other insights they can give us. Okay, so we have the summer charm, first of all. If you're watching this when I post and you're in the northern hemisphere, then this is summertime. That's saying that summertime is important to this situation. You've got the rocking horse. This is so pertinent because this is about putting effort in but not seeming to move, not seeming to go anywhere, just seeming to stay in the same place, in the same situation. It can also refer to issues from our childhood coming to the forefront. Then the kettle, kind of a similar vein. The kettle refers to things that have been sort of simmering away in our subconscious for a long time, or things that we've looked past, forgiven, not commented on, but now it's bubbling away and it's coming to the surface. It's boiling up. It needs to be recognized. It needs to be addressed. It can't be pushed down or held in the subconscious or ignored any longer. It needs to be acknowledged and dealt with. Then we have the lobster claw, holding on tightly to something, not wanting to let go. We have freedom in the heart space, so this ability to free ourselves emotionally, to get that big sense of relief from letting go of something or from making changes to our life. We have the giraffe, seeing things from a higher perspective, seeing the bigger picture. The monkey as well, Chinese zodiac sign there. Anyone born in the year of the monkey. It's also symbolic of play and fun and laughter and light-hearted energy. So that message there about taking care of yourself, like we were talking about, it's actually landing on cherished self. And then the upright horseshoe, good luck, good things coming your way. Again, I do think it's a very positive reading, Group 3. I just see that you're run down and that you're really tired of the whole situation because you've been doing so much and you've just not seemed to get the result that you need, or any thanks for doing it, or any sort of progress. We are going to roll the 8th set of dice for you. Those are the Adventure Time dice. Let me just get those. Okay, Group 3. We're rolling 4 of them for you. Group 3. Okay, so what have we got here? We have the donut. This just makes me think again of cherishing self, doing things that treat us, you know, whether that's eating food that you like without feeling guilty, or whether it's treating yourself to cinema tickets, for example, a massage, tickets to an event that you'd like to go to, making sure that you book in time to see friends if that's a treat for you, or making sure that you clear your calendar and have a night where you're just at home alone if that is what you consider to be a treat. Just really take care of yourself. Then we also kind of have this here with Tree Trunks, a little elephant who's kind of like a grandmother figure to the main characters of Adventure Time, and she's well known for her apple pie. Again, the apple pie makes me think straight away of comfort food, doing what makes you feel safe. But also the grandmother figure, you know, maybe there's going to be someone who's going to look after you in this week and, you know, pat you on the back and make you feel better and give you that support. Or maybe you need to be that figure for yourself. Group 3, maybe it's time to start advocating for yourself and being that caring grandmotherly figure towards yourself. If you were in that position and you looked at yourself as a grandchild, what would you want for yourself? What would you immediately want to do to change your situation and make yourself feel better with that unconditional love of a kind grandmother? We've got Marshmallow as well, a sweet little happy-go-lucky character. Marshmallow, I think of the softness as well. Again, it's very much related to comfort food. So that seems to be a big theme. Not necessarily eating in the way that it's going to make you feel bloated or stodgy or sluggish, not sort of just stuffing yourself with food to fill a void, but genuinely not restricting yourself, like not saying, oh, I shouldn't have that, it's bad, or, you know, I'd regret it later, or whatever. Just allowing yourself to eat what you feel you fancy. Eat and drink and watch and read and go wherever you feel called. I think that's really important. Then your final dice is the Gauntlet of the Hero. This is a special gauntlet that can defeat the Lich and give the hero special powers. So feels like in this week you either have what it takes naturally, like you've got the personality traits or the qualifications, the experience, the resources to push yourself forward and achieve what you need, or you are going to be given that special opportunity or that piece of advice that is life-changing, or that really all-important boost of energy in this week to just power through it and get what needs to be done so that you can then relax and recuperate after having done what needs to get out of the way. So I have really positive hopes for this week for you, Group 3, because it does seem like you're able to get this done, but you just need to force yourself to break that inertia, force yourself to do what's needed, and then jump on any potential openings for self-care, even if it means cancelling something that you had planned that was just going to be another chore, essentially. Don't feel guilty for it. Just do what you need to do to take care of yourself. So that is what I'm seeing in your reading, Group 3. I really hope you've enjoyed it. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you for watching. Please let me know in the comments what you thought of the reading, and if it resonated with you, I'd love to know. Please like, share and subscribe as well if you enjoyed the video, and if you would like to get more involved with what I do, then I offer private readings, private healing sessions and other services on Etsy. That is linked below in the description box and in the comments section. And I also have my Patreon page as well if you'd like to support me and also get access to exclusive content and other services on there. Definitely go and check that out if that interests you. Thank you again for being here. Thank you if you do go on to check out anything. There's probably more things linked below in the description that I'm just not mentioning because I always have loads of things in there and I just take them out when they're no longer relevant. But do check it out if you're interested. Thank you for being here. Thank you for watching. Thank you, especially if you're a subscriber. Take care and have a wonderful rest of your day and a lovely week ahead. Bye bye.